Okay, hello folks. So hopefully you looked at yesterday's lesson, and it was a pretty easy one, but it's really important for today. So what I would like you to do first, I've given you some pairs of triangles here, and you can just try the first one. I've told you that these two triangles are similar to each other. So that means that this little one has been enlarged to make this one, and that means that all of the sides have been enlarged by the same amount. Now, what you can notice here is that 4 has changed to 6. Now, that doesn't mean that I add 2 to everything. That won't work. What you have to figure out is what was this triangle multiplied by to get this triangle. So if you don't want to try that, that's okay. If you do, you should pause it. And so what we do here is we take the larger triangle and we divide the corresponding sides by each other. Okay? So this is called the it's called the scale factor. So if we take 6 and we divide by 4, so 6 divided by 4, we get 1.5. So that means that the scale factor is 1.5. But what it really means is that to go from this triangle to this triangle, we multiply by 1.5. So 4 times 1.5 will give us 6. Now, if we want to figure out how to get from 6 to y, we would do a very similar thing. We would say y equals 6 times 1.5, and so y is going to equal 9. Now here's the tricky one. If we want to figure out x, which is down here, x goes with 12. So we need to figure out how to go the other way. And so if this way we multiply by 1.5, then to go the other way, we would divide by 1.5. So x equals 12 divided by 1.5. And I believe that would be 9. So 12 divided by 1.5. Oh, it's 8. I made a mistake. I'm not good at dividing with decimals in my head, that's for sure. And so there's our answers. X is 8 and y is 9. Okay, so I want you to use that same idea here and try the next one. So these two triangles are similar. Find the scale factor and then determine the values of B and A. Okay, hopefully you paused it and tried it. So first, I don't even need a calculator for this one. I know that to get from 8 to 16, I multiply by 2. So that means to get from 3 to A, I multiply by 2. And so A is 3 times 2, and A equals 6. Now the other one is a bit trickier because we're going the other way. And so if we're going the other way, we divide by 2. So B equals 11 divided by 2, and B equals 5.5. It's just that easy. Okay, next one. Please pause it and try. Okay, so first I find the two sides that go together, and I know that this is times 3. Okay, so I always draw the arrow to the letter I'm looking for. So I'm going the opposite direction, so I divide by 3. So D is 21 divided by 3. D is 7. And then I go to the corresponding side here. And so C equals 5.5 times 3. So C is going to equal 16.5. And make sure you look at your answers and just see if that makes sense. If this is 5, 5.5, 7 makes sense. If this is 15, this is 21, 16.5 makes sense. It might not be perfect, of course, because the diagrams are just rough sketches that I've created, but the basic idea is there. All right, now this will really test whether or not you're able to do this. So please do pause now and try this one. I will tell you, first of all, that this and this are the corresponding sides. So find the scale factor and go from there. Okay, so I always do it this way. I always do the bigger number divided by the smaller. So 35 over 22. So 35 divided by 22 is, whoa. So this is going to have to be rounded. So this is approximately 1.59. So not exactly, but pretty close. So now, to find b, well here, I'll do this. I'll show the scale factor. So in this direction, it's times 1.59 because it's getting bigger. So b is the same direction. So we multiply. I'm going to put the little dot because we know that we're rounding here. So 17 times 1.59 is 27.03 approximately. And then to get g, I draw the arrow to g. It's going the other way, so we have to take 40 and divide by 1.59. 40 divided by 1.59 is 25.16 approximately. Okay, we're ready for the actual lesson. So if you can do this, I think you can do everything in this lesson already, but I'm going to show you a bit of a better way to do it where you don't need to find the scale factor every single time. So we're going to go back to some stuff that you did in grade 9. Okay, so here we go. We're going to solve each proportion. All right, so we've got this here. 2 over 18 equals b over 6, and we want to solve for b. So the idea here always is to get b by itself. To get b by itself, it's being divided by 6, so we multiply by 6 up top. And then over here, we have to do the same thing, because we have to do the same thing on both sides of the equation. This cancels out, and we get b equals 6 times 2 divided by 18. So b equals 12 over 18, or b equals approximately 0.67. Okay, let's try the next one. A is already on the left, which is nice. It's being divided, so we multiply by 7. These cancel out. And now I'm going to do it a little quicker on the calculator. So A equals 18 times 7. I'm going to hit equals just to be safe. And then I'm going to divide by 42. And I get 3. Okay, sweet. All right, last one in this first part. So now K is on the bottom, that's bad. So step 1, flip the fractions. Okay, so I'm going to write that. This is really important. If the variable is on the bottom, flip both fractions. Really important that you flip both. If you only flip one, then you've changed things, and that's not going to work. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply by 1 on top, and I'm going to multiply by 1 on top on the other side. Now you may be thinking that multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything, and you'd be totally correct. I'm just going to do it as is, because you can. Like, you don't have to know all the little ins and outs and little tricks. So 1 times 14, and then I divide by 2. K equals 7. Now, some of you might have looked at this, and maybe you already knew how to do it, right? Like, look, so 2 goes to 1, which means 2 gets cut in half. So if we cut 14 in half, we get 7. And there are ways to do that, but as soon as it's decimals, it's not going to work. And most of what we do will be decimals. All right, I would love for you to try A, B, and C. So please try A, B, and C, pause it, and then unpause it and see how you did. Okay, so our variable's on top, so we multiply by what's on the bottom. These cancel, and we get 25 times 12 divided by 10, which is 30. Again, I hope you tried these. All right, variables on the bottom, that's bad. Step 1, flip everything. Step 2, multiply by what's underneath, because if it's being divided and we multiply, it cancels out. and we get 6 times 5 divided by 4, so 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. Now let's look at these numbers. So here we've got 4 over 6. What's bigger, 4 or 6? Well, 6 is bigger. So that means that underneath 5, we need to have something that's bigger, but not a lot bigger. So 7.5 is bigger than 5, so it works. All right, so here, r's on the other side, that's okay. We multiply by the number underneath, and r is going to be 9 times 6, and then we divide by 8, and we get 6.75. Okay, moving right along. All right, so I'm just going to show, actually, yeah, let's do this one. I encourage you to pause it and try it. So 20 is on the bottom, multiply by 20. This is like most of what today's lesson is. So x is 20 times 3, which is 60, divided by 5 is 12, I think. It is 12. Okay, next one. First thing you do for these, if it's written as a ratio, you turn it into fractions. So the first number goes on top, the second number goes on the bottom. And now we just solve like normal. Y is being divided, so we multiply. These cancel out. And we get y is 10 times 1.5, which should be 15. And then 15 divided by 3 is 5. There you go. All right, so this one, again, we rewrite it as fractions. And now we multiply by what's underneath. Remember, the goal here is always to get the letter by itself, and when these cancel, the letter is by itself. So this is going to be 10, I believe. 4 times 25 is 100. 100 divided by 10 is 10. Okay, here we go. We're into the sort of heart of the lesson here. It's a pretty short one. There's not a lot left for me to do. Okay, so a triangle has sides whose lengths are 5, 12, 13. A similar triangle could have sides with length of, let's multiply by 2, so times 2. And we multiply all the sides by the same number. Because if we do that, that means that we have a triangle that's the same shape, it's just doubled in size. And the scale factor is 2, so everything's times 2. So we could make a scale factor of 3, we could make a scale factor of 0.5. We could literally make the scale factor whatever we want. And then we take the original numbers, 5, 12, and 13, and we multiply by the scale factor. So 5 times 3 would be 15, 12 times 3 would be 36, and 13 times 3 would be 39. And for the last one, my scale factor is 0.5, so I'm multiplying each number by 0.5. So 5 times 0.5 is 2.5. 0.5 is just half. Half of 12 is 6, and half of 13 is 6.5. So all of these triangles are similar. Okay, here we go. This is what today is all about. So we have two triangles that are similar, and we're going to solve for x. So the first thing that I do is I write all the ratios. So these sides go together. So 24 over 9 equals, this is from yesterday, 32 over 12 equals x over 1. Notice the order matters. On top, I have the 3 sides of the first triangle, and on the bottom, I have the 3 sides of the second, and the order matters too. So we have 3 ratios here. The important ratio is this one, because this is how we're going to solve for x. So to solve this, I need that ratio. So x over 1 equals, and now I'm going to pick one of these. It does not matter which one I pick at all. So let's pick 24 over 9. And from here, it's exactly the same as what we were doing previously. So to get x by itself, I multiply by 1, cancels. X equals 24 times 1, which is 24, divided by 9, and we get 2.67, approximately 2.67. Okay, that's it. The only extra little piece is this. And this is the important part, so if you've sort of been half asleep, pay attention to this one example here because it's the important one. So triangles GHI and JKL are similar. This diagram is really going to mess with you because these triangles have been rotated. So ignore the diagrams to start. Let's list the corresponding angles. Remember, the first letter goes with the first letter. The second letter goes with the second letter. And the third angle, or the third letter, goes with the third. That didn't work out very well. Okay, so let's just do it like this. So angle G equals angle J. Angle H equals angle K. And angle I equals angle L. Okay, so determine the measure of each angle. So angle I is 86. And it says here that angle L is the same. So that means that angle L is also 86. We know angle K is 42. Angle H is the same, so this is 42. Uh-oh. How do we find these other angles? Well, you may remember, so angle G equals, you may remember that the sum of the angles in any triangle is 180. So we do 180 minus 86 minus 42. And angle G is going to be 180 minus 86 minus 42, 52 degrees. And therefore, angle J is also 52 degrees. Okay, so that's the easy part. Now the hard part. We're asked to list the ratio of corresponding sides, and this one single step is by far the most important. Because when the diagrams are messed up, like they are here, we ignore them for now, and we do this. We say G over J, notice little letters, because little letters mean sides, equals I over L. So remember, sides are small letters, and we just write the same order. Okay, now, to find the lengths of the missing sides, this is what today's lesson is all about. We're going to plug in each value, G, J, H, K, I, and L. So side G, what's side G? So remember we label across, so side G is 7. So 7 over side J is, oh, it's just J for now, we don't know it. Side H, uh-oh, we don't know that one either. Side K, okay, that's 10. Side I is 9. And side L, across from L, is 18. So what you're going to notice here is that we have 3 ratios. In this one, we're missing J. In this one, we're missing H. And in this one, we're not missing anything. So this ratio becomes what I like to call the key. And if you don't have a complete ratio, you don't have a key, and you can't solve these. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in. And what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to solve for side H and for side J separately. So for side H, we need the ratio with H in it. And you always, 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 always need a ratio that's complete. And there it is. Okay, so to solve for H, we multiply by 10 on both sides. These cancel. And we get 9 times 10 divided by 18 is 5. So H is 5, nice and easy. Now to solve for J, whatever side you're solving for, you need its ratio. So this is 7 over J equals, and you always need the complete one. And you could put 5 in here for H and use this ratio. I always like to use the original one, because if I made a mistake here, this is wrong, and then if I use this, then this is wrong. All right, so step 1, J's on the bottom. Bring it up top. Flip that ratio. Flip the other ratio. And now we multiply by the 7 underneath. and we get j equals 18 times 7 divided by 9. Woo. Oh my goodness. 18 times 7 divided by 9. Okay. 18 times 7 divided by 9. 14! 14. Sorry, my finger kept slipping and hitting the wrong button. It kept hitting the plus button because it's a massive button. All right, so that's it. I've got a bunch of practice here for you. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the first one with you, and then I guess you'll only have 2 practice questions. So again, I encourage you to pause it, try this, and then come back. All right, so ABC is similar to XYZ. That's really important. So let's go in and see what we don't have. We've got C, we've got A, we don't have B. We have Y, we have X, and we have little z. So the only side that we're missing is B. So let's write our corresponding sides here. So I'm not going to use the diagram, okay? Use this. A over X equals B over Y equals C over Z. And the reason I use this statement is because this tells us the order. Sometimes these triangles are rotated. In this case, they're not, but sometimes they are. And now let's plug in. A is 3.6, X is 10.0. B, we don't know, over Y is 9.2, and C over Z is going to be 2.3 over 6.4. All right, so we're only missing one thing. So we have to use this ratio to solve for B, and you can pick which one you want to use. I'm going to use this one just because. I could have used the other one. It makes no difference. So B over 9.2 equals 2.3 over 6.4. I multiply by 9.2 on both sides. You'll notice that I'm using dots for my multiplication. That's just because sometimes the multiplications look like x's. Okay, so 2.3 times 9.2 equals, divided by 6.4, so all of these numbers are 1 decimal place, so we're going to round this to 1 decimal place. So approximately 3.3. And then look at the diagrams and see if 3.3 makes sense. 2.3, 3.6, 3.3, yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Cool, that's it. That's it for today. I'm kind of breaking this down a little bit more than I normally would. So in terms of practice, I think I've just got 2 questions here for you. So I encourage you to do these 2 questions and then check back later on at 3 o'clock on May 20th, and the solutions will be posted. Okay, good luck, folks.